Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good
from
morning.
The great state of New York.
Yep, in the cold state of New York.
It's cold out.
And Spence is here.
Good morning, Amnon. I just say every week with you doing that guitar riff live, it's just incredible. How do you do it?
I just know how to do it.
That's so much.
Because Nick is here.
What?
All right.
Because Nick makes it work.
Oh, yes.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software, Telestream Wirecast Software, Nick Craig, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Yeah, I'm saying that it's made possible. Something stopped working with Chrome. And I didn't know what to do this morning. And Nick got in and he tried, and he said, yep. So we're using Vivaldi.
There you go.
Try that new browser, Brush Nickel.
Is that really the name of a new browser?
No. Amnon will get it because it's
anyway. So what's going on?
It's an alternative to Chrome appliances and stuff or fixtures. You can go Brush Nickel. You can go oil rub bronze. The latest thing is almost black for doorknobs and faucets. It's insane. But
I've got a tip to start the show off. Amnon, I don't think everybody knows that you can still get a free Windows 10 upgrade. Spence, do you know about this?
We talked about it last week with Gal. In fact, I'm going to try to use it because I got the inevitable call for a customer who's got 3 machines running Windows 7 that I have to upgrade.
I did it again yesterday for my grandmother's computer. You literally just go to the Windows 10 Media Creator tool. No BS, no like, oh, I'm disabled, I need a free upgrade. You literally just download the Media Creation tool, run it, and it just installs Windows 10.
Yep.
There's no tomfoolery, no skirting the lines of morals. It is completely free. There's nothing. It's fantastic.
It's just like you're doing an update of Windows 7.
Correct. Well, it's like you were doing the update back when they were offering it for free for like a year and a half or whatever. It's fantastic.
So is it still truly an in-place upgrade to 7?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
Now, I didn't do hers on 7, but it was 8.1. So I assume
it's the same. I did it. I did it on 7 a couple of times here,
and it
worked just fine.
Good, because I'm still going to put in I'm going to upgrade these machines to solid-state drives, clone them, and then upgrade the clone drives and leave the old ones alone until I make sure everything works. It's got some network requirements that every time there was a Windows update, major update recently with 7, it blew up the network. So there has to be some shared volumes for the stuff to work right.
If I knew that it was that easy and that it just everything was staying in place, I would have done Windows 10 long time ago.
Amnon, if you go to the encyclopedia, you look up last adopter, your picture's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was that easy at the start. For the first year and a half, they offered
no, it
that.
wasn't. It was bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but I did the in-place upgrade on a bunch of computers. It worked all right.
I did it on a couple, and it turned out that eventually I did a clean install because there were some Well, probably the issue was that these Windows 7 installations were so old.
Yeah.
Original.
2009. Yeah.
Yeah. So that didn't have, there was a lot of background crap, things that were uninstalled and maybe weren't completely uninstalled. And, so it wasn't like they were pristine machines to start with. So what's the saying? If you try to fix something that's bad like that, it'll never be right because you're starting with something that's bad.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm hoping it works well because these 3 machines in particular are suspect. Although he is going to go with one new laptop for his personal use. Why not for his use in the business? Because his Windows 7 laptop that he bought like 4 years ago was already a markdown thing, a special deal for an older machine. So he's going to get a new purpose-built Windows 10 laptop, which will be good. But his machine will be a clean install from scratch, which I did with his Windows 7 when he bought it, and it was okay. A lot of software.
I put I didn't personally do it, but I scheduled it. We put 10 new I think they were HPs. The HP sells these little Apple TV looking computers. I don't know what the name of them are. They're about $700. They've got i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 250 or 500 gig SSD drives. And we put 10 of those in for a customer this week, upgrading from 7. And they're cool, man. They got USB. They got a couple USB-C ports, USB 2 or 3 USB 3.0s.
Display port?
I don't remember if it had display.
Some of them now aren't even coming with that because you just get a USB-C video.
Yeah, I think it had. I don't think it had a display port. I think it. Well, it must have. It must have had a display port and an HDMI. They were cool though.
I've done a couple of the Lenovo versions of that, which you see, and a lot like locally. There's a couple of hospitals that are standardized on Lenovo stuff because they're local, and they have a lot of these either all-in-ones or the micro desktops. Yeah, I like them. I've installed several of them, and they're not very flexible when it comes to upgrading. But for inexpensive pre-installed machines, I ran into that issue with the driver issue with Windows 10 or Windows 7, where these machines, when I tried to do a repair on it, it was not loading the USB driver. So I had to make a special version of the repair disk so that it had the actual USB driver built in.
I'm throwing a link, the Amazon link in here. They're HP Pro desks. The one thing that is remained to be seen, though, is because all of the components are so tightly packed and stacked on top of each other, will these things in the long term, are these things going to die in half the time that the Windows 7 machines died? Just based on heat and wear.
That is the major thing I think they have with these machines is heat.
Yeah, I mean, you don't kill these components over time.
Heat?
I mean, heat. I mean, you run these things for, in the case of these businesses, these things are used 7 days a week.
Right. Yeah.
365 days a year. It's a pet hospital, so they're always open.
They're going to get clogged up with pet hair.
Well, they're going to get clogged with pet hair too, which is a whole nother issue. But you just wonder, is this thing going to last? Their Windows 7 machines are from 2013, 2014. So they got a good 4, 5, 6 years out of them. I don't think these things will last 6 years. I guarantee you they'll start failing.
Well, the good news is I think HP is late to the game with this form factor. Lenovo has a longer history with these, but hopefully they're using server-like fan components in there. Because I think there's only one fan in.
The keyword is
one little tiny fan.
The keyword's what?
Hopefully they use.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Those little, what is the little 2-inch square server fans.
Yeah, the one that
Yeah.
screamed like a jet plane.
Yeah,
These things aren't
the
loud.
ones
These
that are
things are
they're
non-existent.
variable speed, which is nice.
Yeah. So Spence, it's got 2 ports, an HDMI and a display port.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
They're pretty good price, man. For I mean, if you're looking for something, you could build something for cheaper. But if you're looking for, I know a lot of people are getting into the home media PC thing, and especially if they're trying to output 4K video, you can't take some old Core 2 Duo and throw it on your TV and output 4K video. It's not going to work. For these things, for $700, you're getting an i5 8th gen, 8 gigs of RAM, a 256 gig solid state drive, and a copy of Windows. This is a great, and the form factor, this is a great media PC. If you need power, that is. I mean, I wouldn't buy it to just hook up to a 1080p TV, but if you're looking to pump through, uncompressed 4K raw stuff, this is probably a good buy. Just based on the form factor. It'll be 3 times smaller than your cable box.
Speaking of cable boxes, it's working fine. I had purchased a Amazon Fire Stick TV for my office television, which is an older Hans Free. Remember that brand name?
Hans, yeah.
Yeah. TV that had 2 HDMIs. I used to use it for trade shows. And just to give you an idea how old this is, I think the date on it was 2007. No, I'm thinking of a different TV, an even older one. But this one, I guess it got to be 2010 or 11, something like that. Maybe a little older. When I was doing a lot of trade shows, and I needed to have a multi-port display for HDMI input and other things. But it's a nice television. Works great. I have it hooked up to the cable box in my office, but I also wanted to be able to do smart TV functions. So I picked up the Fire Stick, and if you plug it into the HDMI port and you plug in the power and it boots up, it works great. Then when you shut the TV off or you switch HDMIs, it will not restart again with the remote. You have to unplug it and replug it in again. It's the only way to start it.
Really?
And it turns out, after doing lots of research and experimentation with it, it's got to do with the HDMI port. Online on the Amazon help site, lots and lots of people have the same problem with older televisions. And it's got to do with what version of HDMI you're running, and when the thing goes to sleep, it will not come back. So even if it's powered, even if you're using external power, which they recommend, it will not come back. So I took it downstairs and I plugged it into another television, and it worked fine. Actually, I plugged it into an HDMI switch, and it worked fine. Actually, they don't recommend that. Amazon says, avoid using an HDMI switching device. But in this case, the one that I have, 4-port, actually has the Keep Alive going. So when you switch between HDMIs, it keeps the device attached from an HDMI perspective. It doesn't wait for it to discover it again as you switch through it's not a passive switch. So I may get something like that for up here. But really, the easiest thing to do, and somebody had a good idea, is just put it on a power strip. So when you want to use it, you flip the switch and it turns it on and it works. So for what did I pay for this thing? $19.95? Black Friday special for a Fire Stick? I'm happy.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, so it's for the amount of time I use it, it's fine. So also, did you know, Amnon? Oh, you're not a Verizon Unlimited customer. That's right. I forgot about that.
I am.
If anybody, and we talked about this last week, didn't we? About being a Verizon. If you have either a mobile phone or a home networking internet connection to Verizon, Fios or whatever, and you have anything unlimited, you're entitled to 1 year of Disney Plus free.
Really?
And so I signed up. Sure enough, it's free, and you download the app. And so far, I've got 3 people in the household running the client, and it doesn't seem to be an issue having multiple people on it.
Wait, tell me again. If you have Verizon, what?
Unlimited.
Oh,
Unlimited data. So if you have
okay,
a
yeah,
phone
no, never
plan
mind.
with unlimited data,
Yeah.
or you have an internet connection, which with FiOS, I don't know that you can get
No,
a metered
no,
connection.
I see what
It's going to
you
all be unlimited. You qualify for using your Verizon credentials. You can go and sign up for Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And I used it because I wanted to watch the last few Star Wars movies before we went to see it on Friday night for the premiere of the new movie. And then I started to watch some other stuff that I saw. And anybody wants to know a good family movie? Oh, Nick, I was talking about signing up for Disney Plus and using it. Like, did you go see Star Wars yet?
Me?
Yeah.
I've never seen a Star Wars movie in my life.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. You got a lot of catching up to do.
Yes, I don't know what it is. I have no interest. I'll tell you what. This is there's a lot of discrimination in this world, but in the gaming kind of community that I'm in, not being a Star Wars fan is some of the worst discrimination I've ever dealt with.
Yeah, well, I believe it.
It's a serious thing, and I just have no interest. I just don't. I'm not into sci-fi at all. Like I just the whole space Star Trek, Star Wars thing has just never.
It's
been
all
of any
Sheldon's
interest to me.
fault.
It was the way we raised our kids. I mean, my sons, he and his wife are having their first child, and a big theme in their the baby's room is either Star Wars or Legos.
I think it is a generational thing. I think being 22, when would the first there's only been what, 3 Star Wars movies that have come out? Something like that. There hasn't been that many, and my father wasn't into Star Wars, so that explains it.
And that would be it. If your parents were big into it, you would be.
Correct, and they were. And I
My
think
daughter was literally a 6-month-old infant when we went to see the first Star Wars movie in a drive-in, and that was probably 8 or 10 months after it came out. It was still playing, and I had no idea what it was, and I we'll go see this movie because it's in the drive-in, and didn't matter what the movie was really. You just went to see it, and I was blown away. And I had been to the premiere of The Empire Strikes Back and whatever the last one, third one was called. I can't remember now. My mind just went blank.
Did you see the new one yet?
Yes, saw it Friday night.
What was your thoughts on it?
I liked it a lot. There was some silliness to it, but they all had some silliness to it. You didn't think to do this like 10 minutes ago? That just you lost half your people because you were thinking about something else. It was things like that, but that was just the nature of the movie. It's not like it's a take it apart cerebral movie where you're going to analyze the decisions that the battle commanders make. It's fantasy. Yeah, and Disney, Merle's right. They already ruined the franchise in a lot of ways because they've added some social justice stuff and just some of the stuff that they've said about it were just unnecessary. But
wasn't there a gay kissing scene?
Yes, at the very end of the movie there is.
That's so weird.
Yeah, there is, and they had to put it in there to satisfy. There's just people at Disney that had to see it.
So
could
weird.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
So bizarre.
There was something. I mean, when you're talking about gay kissing, there was something about the Hallmark Channel.
Because they were saying that they were going to have both commercials and new productions that would include gay and even transgender couples.
Yeah, but from the way they understood it, there was a lot of push against it.
There's a big backlash.
Fans,
there was a commercial that was running,
and they decided not to do it.
Yeah, they took it off.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're still committed in some way. It's supposed to be out. They're going to produce a movie, either Lifetime or Hallmark is going to do a movie with the gay characters.
Yeah.
So, well, you know what? piss off your audience and they'll go away.
Yeah, that's what happened.
They just
Nick,
don't realize it.
You wanted to talk about New Orleans.
Oh yeah. Did anybody see that they had to issue a state of emergency last week because of a cyber attack?
Oh yeah, they're the city offices, right? And all their PCs.
I don't know if they're still down, but I read the email from the IT department and they said turn off all of your computers and unplug them. So
they're back up because
okay.
they're actually able to restore. I don't know that everything is back, but thank God they had supposedly had a decent backup.
Yeah. I guess that's a good way to air gap something, Spence. If you run into a security, just unplug it. That's the best air gap you can get.
Oh, absolutely.
Turn the power off.
Yep. Disconnect it from the network.
Yeah, disconnect from the network.
People haven't learned from movies when the guy is in the big control center and they plug in the flash drive to analyze the code and suddenly all the computers go down.
Yeah.
You know, I always yell, disconnect the network.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, that's
the worm.
That's the kind of a kill switch that would be great for system administrators. Something like this happen. I mean, you tell people to disconnect, but if you could go bang and like kill, all you have to do is kill the switches.
So you get one of those data center IP power switches, which you make a small version of it that plugs into the line cord of all the computers that you support. And if it's a laptop, you get some type of a software thing that you can remotely just.
I mean, if you just disconnect them from the network, you're fine. You don't have to shut them down.
Well, unless the worm's on that computer.
Yeah.
And then when you plug it back into the network, then it's going to reinfect everything.
Well, but if you shut down the network and then you go and check each and every machine.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're re-imaging all the computers. Yeah. So they've re-imaged at this point.
That's the safest.
It says about 10% of the city's 450 servers and 3,500 computers are in the process of being re-imaged.
Yep.
Which is the only thing you can do if it's a real nasty attack. But the question is, and I'm just getting into this stuff, Spence. Maybe you and Amnon have a little more experience and you can shed some light on this. Are there safeguards on your network that will cause these things to not be able to traverse?
Yes.
Or is it unrealistic?
Yeah, there are different levels of protection that you can have because they have devices that will analyze traffic right down to from the layer 1 up to layer 7. From the physical layer, well, maybe not the physical layer, because what are you looking at? What are you really analyzing? Layer 2 and up, right? From the MAC address into the layer 3 IP address into the layer 4, the different layers of the network. There are ways of analyzing that traffic. It does take cycles to do it. You used to have something called a border controller.
Oh yeah,
which
SBC,
was
baby.
Yeah, so this was a way that you could control all of the inbound and outbound traffic from your network and analyze it. And that was big. It's still big, but now that's built into a lot of devices where before you had to have a giant switch. That's all it ran. You had to have big in and big out ports to analyze all that traffic. The problem also was if you had traffic coming into your network that was over SSL, you can't analyze it unless it's decrypted.
Right.
So these session border controls, they were called, the traffic would come in SSL, be decrypted in the device, analyzed, and then re-encrypted again and sent back out on SSL. So the setup for this was really, really complex, and it's gotten much easier.
We still use a lot of those for VoIP phones, border controls.
Yeah, and that's primarily what they were designed for.
Yeah,
was for voice, because you had to make sure the integrity. There's so much SIP connections being torn up, just nailed up and torn down. There was no permanent connections because it was constantly setting up new connections that you had to have something that monitored all that.
Yeah. So is it? But in a situation like the city of New Orleans, is it realistic to have something like you're describing, Spence, or is the cost and the performance hit not realistic for
No,
something
it's
this
realistic,
size.
and it's actually imperative.
Very,
They have to
very.
do it
Yep.
because if they don't have it and they miss it, so it doesn't mean they have to have everything locked down, every single device locked down. They just have to have something monitoring because
Yeah.
the companies are paid to have the latest image of what the latest threats are. And these hijack threats, there's not a lot of new technology. It's just new methods of getting to people. The technology is pretty, they know how it's done. They know usually it's somebody clicking on something.
They must have done something because they must have had something in place because I think I read it a couple of weeks ago or last week or whatever. I can't find it now. They caught the attack in like 8 minutes, which is an indication that there had to have
they
been
had
some sort of
something like
monitoring.
absolutely.
It was like,
Yeah.
hey, your entire
So they were
network
prepared.
is
That's
exposed.
great. I mean,
Yeah.
And you can actually have like in the case, there's plenty of people you can outsource this to. You can have people host your network for you, and it's all virtual. Like you have dynamic setup of servers and images and all that you can just have you can have your main operation running on a series of servers that are completely mirrored. And in some cases, they may be mirrored with a delay. For example, like you hold everything, you keep taking a snapshot, and you put it aside, a snapshot, you put it aside. So you could potentially have a flaw. It's detected in 10 seconds, and you go back to your 30-second backup and start to run that wasn't infected. So it's this storage and CPU, virtual CPU is so cheap now that you can create it's all based on cloud, right? But you can create a virtual machine, create a new virtual machine every so often. So you have like 1,000 snapshots of the last hour that you can go back, total operating system snapshots. And then you can go back and say, well, at what time were we infected? Here's the timestamp, go to the one just before it. You may have lost 15 seconds worth of transactions that you can't recover, but at least you haven't destroyed the system.
We run a service that we sell. It's called Datto, DATTO. It's not available to the public. It's pretty much only for MSPs. And so we put it on all of our servers. And there's a physical device that we put in your location. They sell different size devices, and that thing backs up whatever you put the agent on at a certain interval, 15 minutes, an hour, a day, whatever you think is important. And it will ship the changes. It will ship the changes in data between the last backup off-site. And you can build, in the case of like this case, your server gets crypto lockered. You can actually in the cloud spin up an image of that server and connect it to the network virtually using that physical device that's on the network. And if it's your domain controller or your file share server, you could realistically have that thing back up in a matter of minutes.
Yes, and in true mission critical applications like retail transactions on like the Amazon cloud, for example, that they sell as a service.
Mhm.
Has these type of capabilities built into it, and you can I believe that it's a tiered service where you can pay for a level of backup and a level of granularity that you need for your business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you leave the files without a password on their server, and what good does the whole thing do?
Oh, AWS, yeah. It's just incredible. We haven't fortunately, none of our customers have been in a situation where this has happened, but it's inevitable it will happen. I'm very interested how the process works because you assign it an IP address and it is, for all intents and purposes, the physical server sitting on the network. I'm very interested to see how this thing works in practicality.
I mean, this is it's great technology.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think the thing is we don't know about we don't know about what's happening out there really because a lot of companies go through this and they pay the fee and they never tell anybody.
Yeah. A couple cities in Florida got hit a couple weeks ago.
So, and you hear about sometimes you hear about, well, yeah, we had this attack. It gets out somehow that some entity had an attack and they bowed to it. They paid the ransom. And you hear about it because they paid a ransom and they still can't get out of it. It's just like, you really don't trust these people?
Well, and here's the other thing too. I see in the New Orleans thing, I was reading online about it, and people were throwing a lot of shade at the IT people. And of course, there's a possibility that you've got incompetence in the IT department. But in most cases, I would say that the IT department most likely pitched a backup solution or some sort of solution to whoever it would be, the city manager, the mayor, the governor, whatever the municipality may be. And they didn't want to spend the money because why spend money on backups? It's never going to happen to us. And then they get hit and it's like, oh, look at this. You've got incompetence in your IT department. So it's a tough it's a tough thing to swallow for the IT people because nobody wants to spend money on backups until, all of your data is corrupted and gone.
It's not just IT, it's everybody's like this. I mean, most people don't want to spend the money on offsite backup, even though it's like pennies a day, sort of. But once they get hit, they'll do 3 or 4 of them at the same time. But
just thinking about this the other day and it was, I don't remember what set it off in my head. I think I might have been watching a story about some comparison to the Terminator movies and Skynet and all this stuff, how AI is becoming Skynet. But think about what would happen. And there was a movie or a TV show recently about how there was a giant EMP hit, or it was about the largest bank in the world having all their data locked down. So people were going into the bank. I'd like to take out money. Sorry, we have no idea who you are or how much money you had on deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where's the record? We don't have any record. So it might be worth it in some cases to occasionally print off a statement just for proof. Who knows? They're talking again about an EMP event, but it doesn't have to be from on the earth. It could be the sun. There was when was it that happened? It was back in the 1800s or something?
Yeah, it fried all of the telephone and
yes.
What was the other lines? Telegraph lines. Yeah. Destroyed them worldwide. Yeah, they had to rebuild Fortunately, the system was relatively new, but they had to literally rebuild the entire telco system.
Yes,
it's like
it wiped it all out. So unless you have something that's hardened, it's not going to survive. I mean, think about it. Every car past a certain date will get wiped out.
The Carrington event from 1859.
Yeah, that's it. It was a solar flare.
Yep.
Now it depends. A solar flare could be that the Earth is oriented in such a way that it would only affect half the globe, because if it's a short-lived flare, it hits, and only the people facing the sun are the ones that are affected. But are we going to count on that? Well, I know I'll be facing in the right direction when it happens. But think about it. I mean, money that I have saved, I physically live in a house, and I'm in the house, right? That's good. Possessions is 9/10 of the law. And I have a copy of my mortgage and all that stuff and my deed. But what happens to my IRA if that gets blown up, wherever that information is stored somewhere, and it's not hardened? And how do I prove I have that money?
Yep. Well, let me ask you this, Spence. Okay, so I agree, right? Printing out that stuff is useful, right? And having those records are useful. So let's say there is an EMP issue. There's going to be such mutiny. Is it even going to matter that you have that statement printed out? You're going to go to the bank and they're going to say no. And then what are you going to do? Pull a gun on the teller? Like, it seems like it's just going to be total chaos anyway. So who the hell cares?
Of course there will be.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I agree. And it would be, I can't even begin to guess what will happen, because there are going to be people who are sort of prepared. There are people who are absolutely not prepared whatsoever. And then there are people who have the buried survival chamber under their houses. So it's, who knows? It's good. It'll be scary. I know people that have big safes in their basements that were put down there that will never come out again because they're so big, filled with weapons, gold, cash. It's like that idea doesn't look so stupid to me now. And it's not me because I don't have a basement.
Yeah, and we forget that that a lot of the services that we have today do run on computers that are going to get it. I mean, water. We think of, oh yeah, water, just go in the pipe. What? But it's all controlled by computers. Valves close.
Good news is if you live at most towns like ours, we have water towers.
Yeah, yeah.
But the point is that you have to put water into the water tower to get it to work. Water tower delivers constant pressure because of gravity. It's not the pumps. They pump water up there on a regular basis to fill the tank, but it's gravity that keeps the system pressurized.
It's going to be a disaster. I mean, a disaster when it happens and a disaster for years after. There's no doubt.
Yeah, years. It would be. It would just. There would be an instant revolution because what is the saying? You're two meals away from a revolution.
Yeah.
As soon as people miss 2 meals, they're going to be running through the streets, killing people, because they'll lose their minds. What do? You got a family with kids.
Yep.
And you don't have a lot of food saved. It's anarchy. That's the kind of thing I always thought that if there was an atomic attack on the country, that I'd rather be standing under the bomb as it comes down than be a survivor because of what it would be like, what life would be like afterwards.
This is a quote from that solar storm in the 1800s. The telegraph manager in Pittsburgh reported that the current flowing through the wires was so powerful that platinum contacts were melting.
Wow.
Things were just lighting up on fire.
Yep.
According to witnesses, an arc of fire jumped from somebody's head to the telegraph equipment. Some telegraph stations that used chemicals to mark sheets reported that powerful surges caused telegraph paper to combust. Oh my God.
I can't remember what year it was, but they had a major destruction of the Canadian power grid across, I think it affected upstate New York. And it was mainly in the northeastern area of
2003. Is that the one you're talking about?
And that was a flare. That was a solar storm that disrupted the grid. Their major problem was when they had an ice storm that took down all their towers.
The one from 2003 was a Niagara Falls. Maybe it's a different one. The 2003 blackout, or maybe it was 2005, was a power generation plant near Niagara Falls sent something bad down the line and caused all of the stations to fail. There was just a chain reaction of failure. So that one was a long. I remember that blackout. That was a long blackout.
I'm looking it up now. The one.
This is funny. I'm reading this more. It says, telegraph operators could unplug their telegraph machines and still transmit messages, using only the auroral current on the lines. So they were unpowering the lines. And there was so much power on the lines they could still send data.
I mean, you don't have to go that far back. And I don't know if this is just inexperience with how to do with that. But when was it? Thursday. Kathy's phone, my wife Kathy, her phone started flickering. And it would just shut down the display. And I found out that if you turn the display off and on, it'll come on and stay on for a couple of seconds and go out again.
When you say turn the display off and on,
you know how when it goes to sleep, you can
take it out of sleep and wake it up.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, there was no way that you can, especially, to let her do that, and you couldn't swipe or do anything, and every now and then you could. The bottom line is, so I had her old phone, and I put the SIM in it, and it worked. But a lot of her apps that she added in the last 3-4 years were not on it. And yesterday she went to the store, to the grocery store, and Uzi called and wanted her to get him something because he's from out of town and he got a notice that something is on sale, paper towels. And I called her and I told her, and she said, yeah, but I don't have my phone. I can't give him the EVIC, whatever, at Harris Teeter. I can't scan it. So I can't get it. And when she came home, I asked her, because I don't do it. And I said, are you saying that there could come a day when, if your phone completely breaks down, that we're going to go hungry because you can't buy stuff at the store? I mean, think about it. Certain things are not working today just due to simple things like that. Yeah, of course, you can go and buy whatever you want and pay the full price. It kind of hurts sometimes when you have to pay full price, but it's just amazing that something like this happens now.
We live in a country where we have a supply chain that is timed by the minute, where things are delivered to stores within their the dates in which the food stays good and all this stuff. And you think about that. If that delivery grid was interrupted, if there was an EMP and it knocked out, most trucks today, delivery vehicles, are of a certain age or newer, that they're not immune to this. So all the vehicles that are used to deliver, if that was all that went bad, if just the transportation grid died, we're screwed, because there'd be no way to get the food that's coming in by ship or coming in from farms distributed. It would just spoil, and that would be it. We'd run out of the food that's in the stores now, frozen stuff, within a day, because people would panic and they'd go and buy it. There'd be no more fresh food unless it was locally grown, and that would take a year to ramp that up or more. And then all of the long-term storage food would be purchased too, because people would have to eat it, and that would be worse than just knocking out the electronic side.
Right.
John's got an interesting question. He says, is data on a CD or DVD safe from an EMP if you can find a device to read it? I think so.
Yeah.
Right? Because isn't it physically burning the
Right.
disc?
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, DVDs and CDs are going to stay, but the problem is the electronics on all the readers. Unless,
and there's some question as to whether the device has to be powered on for it to be affected. And in most cases now, it is true that the device does not have to be powered on to be affected. It used to be I turned my television off so it's immune to this electromagnetic pulse. No, that's not the case. This electronics are so sensitive now that unless they're hardened, it isn't necessarily going to stop it from creating a problem. It was 1989 that the Canadian grid went down, but it was only down for 7 hours, 9 hours, something like that.
Yep.
Al's asking me for a HelloFresh update. So my original package never came. I think UPS probably saw that it was spoiled, so they didn't deliver it, which was fine. And then since I've been traveling, I haven't had an order come in yet. So I'll have an update here. I think my shipment comes in. I'm not sure. I'll have to look. I'll have to look at when my next shipment
So
is.
you never asked them for a replacement?
Well, they don't do replacements.
Oh.
They just credit you for the next week.
Okay.
Because the food's got to be prepared and then shipped. So it's not like they've just got, stuff standing by.
They didn't send a chef to your house?
No, they did not. Their support was great. So I'm looking forward to trying it when I get back from Christmas.
Oh. Spence, you ready for specials?
Oh, yeah, give me a second. I don't have them up yet. Yes, give me a moment here. Nick, I just put this in the text. I said your order was delivered to your neighbor, and they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they probably would have died if they would have eaten it. It came like 6 days late.
Oh, Oh, there's one. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not typing right here. There we go. Let's go live, and then we'll go to specials, and we'll click. Oops, that didn't work right. This week's ads. And we got to blow it up a bit. So what I did today for Computers 2K Now specials, last minute gifts for December 22nd, 2019, was I just took advantage of what I could find on Amazon. Things that could be ordered mainly and delivered today or tomorrow, in time, maybe Christmas Eve, I guess, if depending. But a lot of these things were, most of these things, I do have one page with things that are not going to make it in time, but are still interesting. But you know what is actually, if people don't have Prime, it's a good gift. Give them Prime, right? What do they get? Free fast delivery, TV shows for free, songs for free, free Kindle books for free Kindle books in some cases. You can buy Prime for somebody either 3 months for $39 or $119 for 12 months. There's an idea, right? Somebody that doesn't have Prime. Okay, so what does a cat needer need? The cat lover need, I should say. You need an expandable cat backpack space capsule bubble transportation system. Who wouldn't want this, right? Doesn't it look high tech? Can you imagine walking through the airport with your cat in this? How people would react? It'd be pretty cool, right? An attention getter. Only $52.99. You want one, Amnon?
I like the idea,
Isn't that a nice idea?
Yeah, it's nice for the cat.
It's the other things you might put in there that could really scare people, right? Put your iguana in there, or your Wolverine, right? Your Tasmanian devil, put that in there.
I saw somebody with a Great Dane at the airport. I don't know how the hell you get that
service animal.
I mean, it had to have been. It was inside TSA.
Must have been then.
I don't know how the hell you fly. With
if it was inside TSA, it was confiscated.
Thank you.
How do you plan for that? Do you just assume that the airplane has to make room for your pet, your service animal?
And those Great Danes are like 170 pounds. They're like, like 9
so
feet tall.
Do you get a seat? What do you do with this animal? They have to accommodate you?
I was like, oh no, in my luck, I'm gonna end up sitting next to this jackass that brought their freaking dog on the airplane. I mean, give me a break.
I brought my pet python with me because it's my service animal. Don't worry, if he comes close to you, he won't bite.
You know, be a good idea. I could have if you're trying to fly with somebody, maybe a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, you could say that they're your service animal.
And they get to sit on your lap.
Hey, a double, making out on both ends of it.
All they need is a vest.
A vest,
right?
And then you could say my wife and or girlfriend identifies as a service animal.
Did you see? Alan said your flight is on a Piper Cub, and you have a service horse. I'm sorry, sir, but we have to cut your horses up into pieces and strap it to the wings.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna try that. Anybody want Amnon? You want to take a flight with me?
No.
Oh, Alan, I've flown on bush flights in Alaska where they strapped. It was a float plane, and they strapped 100-pound propane tank to one of the struts on one side, and a bunch of sheets of plywood to the other side to carry it to this remote cabin. Oh, it's great.
Oh my God!
We do this all the time. What's the big deal?
All right.
Oh. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So if you're looking to get somebody a entry-level security system, here is the Kangaroo system that starts at $9.62. You can buy a sensor. And I don't think this is a motion sensor. I think this is a window open sensor, like a contact sensor. That's the first offering they have. $9.62. So this is a great product because it starts so small. It's highly rated. A lot of people like it. I mean, not everybody likes it, but you can go from a single sensor up to a whole house kit. Uh, the 14-piece kit is $279. That includes a hub, and it includes door sensors and occupancy sensors and all kinds, key fobs and all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't stop there. It goes, you can go even bigger than that. But if you know somebody who has an apartment and they're worried about and they only have one door and they're worried about some security, you can give them this thing. You don't have to, it's free to use unless you want to have some type of notification through to monitoring by a third-party monitoring system company. But if you want to just have your phone alert you when your door opens, for $9.62, you can buy this device. And there's lots of knockoff versions of this. This is just one of the ones that's available on Amazon. So you can have this tomorrow by 9 p.m. for free through Prime, today or tomorrow. Free same day. So actually, it's a thoughtful gift. You can go with I think they were advertising the $29 one, which was a motion and entry sensor. So if you have a small apartment and you want to just have something that's going to detect motion in your room, you spend $29 and get that. And it's still free unless you want to have some monitoring service. So not bad, not bad. Okay. So looking for a fun gift for kids. We've got not parent approved, a card game for kids, families, and mischief makers. And I read the reviews on this, and it looks like it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a role-playing game where they ask a question and you have to come up with, whoever comes up with the best answer to that question wins. So, but it looks like it's a good interactive role-playing type thing for starting with even really young kids, starting at 8 years old, up to 8 to 12. $24.99. Have it today or tomorrow. Okay. The next one, and it's worth watching the video on this if you're interested in this, is the OBSBot Tail AI camera. 4K, 60 frames per second video.
Wow.
12 megapixel. But what's cool about this, it is auto tracking, what they call it AI tracking, intelligent composition, power gestures. It's $589. It's expensive, okay? But they show people doing, like, if you're an athlete or a dancer or a skateboarder or something that you would like this thing to capture unaided, you can set it up on a tripod, you can just set it on the table, and it will look at you, and as you do your thing, will track you. Zoom in and zoom out. It's very cool. Smartphone attachable, AI tracking, 360-degree camera. So I've never seen this before. It's actually quite sophisticated. Let's wait a while for the knockoffs to come, right? Because they'll come and they'll be cheaper. But what a great idea.
What is called a PTZ.
A what?
PTZ, pan, tilt, and zoom, because it's
it does all that.
Yeah.
But it will do it automatically.
Yeah.
Which is neat. So yeah, a little expensive to start with. If you're looking, if money isn't an object on a gift, wow, for the right person, for what they want to do. And Nick, this next one, I thought about you. I don't know if you've seen this stuff yet. The Tap Strap 2 all-in-one super controller, wearable keyboard and mouse, air gestures, media controller, for $169. Plug into input at any device using Surface Large. What is Surface Large? Any Surface, I'm sorry. So it's a programmable gesture device that you could set up from phones up into computers. It was $169. And again, unless I specifically say, all this stuff is available same day or by tomorrow. Okay. Mon Baby Advanced Baby Monitor. Now, this is not a camera, but this is something different. So this looks at ambient body temperature of the child, breathing movement, and body position. So I guess it depends on how granular you want to get. I'm not sure about the setup of this, but it's got really good ratings on it. And people are especially in the first months of life, if the child has a problem, for whatever reason, some people, there used to be, remember Amnon, they used to call it crib death?
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the technical term for it was. Kind of like a sleep apnea thing where the child would stop breathing in certain positions. It's well known now what to do, how to prevent that. But if you have a child who's not feeling well and you want to monitor their temperature, you want to monitor their breathing, whatever position of the baby, yeah, it's a 98.99, less than $100. It's a great idea for a couple that has, they're nervous about for whatever reason. Boy, I wish this stuff existed when my kids were small.
Yeah.
Be great. So many problems could be avoided. All right, so this particular page is cool but backordered. This next one, this is a smart screen digital backpack where you program these pixels like LEDs on this thing. What I thought was so strange about this, it looks fun, it looks fascinating. You can either use the preset emojis and screens on it, or you can create your own. What was weird about this, you go to look at this online, and the video that there's SIDS, that's right, sudden infant death syndrome. Thanks, John. But the people who were showing this were all mid-20s-ish, right? And the stuff that they were showing them doing was a heart, a poop emoji, a pony, and all this stuff. Wait a second. Who's the target audience here? If you watch the video, you'll look through and say, that's weird. You got this like guy with a nose ring and all this other stuff, hipster looking guy.
With a pony.
Weird stuff. I mean, it was strange. But for $229, hey, you got that kid that has everything, you don't know what to give them. So they could probably put a sign up there that says something really nasty because it's programmable. But it is a full backpack too. Oh well. But the guy, I didn't expand on the picture, but the guy you see sitting here in the image with the phone programming this thing, he's got to be 25 or older, putting a heart on the back of his backpack. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, this next product actually is one my son has had and was part of their original Kickstarter movement to get this company going, Glowforge. It is a 3D laser. When I say 3D, it doesn't build things in 3D, right? It will laser etch things that are 3D. If you put something in there that's multiple levels, you can actually design a pattern to burn into this thing. It can accept multiple levels on a limited basis. But the point of this is it burns an image into things. Whatever, it could be glass. My son has done glass, Lexan, wood, plastic, you name it, that can be an image burned in it. And he's done some really amazing things. He started out doing bottle openers, custom bottle openers. And I should go get one to show you what this looks like. But it's a wooden blank that you put two large head screws in one end. You put magnets in it too, so it'll hold the bottle cap when you take the bottle cap off, or it will sit on the refrigerator and to store it. But he would burn an image in it. He was making them for different local microbrews and bars, so they would sell them as souvenirs. But you can take any image and make it into I think it's a vector image or a raster image, something like that you can burn with a laser. It's very now it's expensive.
Oh, dang it.
$4,000. What?
Yeah, I was going to get it. I didn't realize it's not available.
No, there are versions of it out there. But the pictures, if you go to the website, it shows it sitting like on somebody's office desk. The one that my son has to be vented to the outside because it's burning.
Yeah.
If it's wood especially, it's producing smoke. And if you use it inside and you have smoke detectors, the smoke detectors are going to go off. Plus, it's not safe because if you're burning plastic, for example, it could create a potential toxin. So you do have to follow the safety instructions on this and vent it to the outside. It comes. You can get a hose, and the hose goes out the window. And
$4,000.
Yeah, but
Jeez.
what you're doing with it, if you're running a business, my son's actually buying a second one, and I don't know I don't know that this looks like the size he has. It comes in different sizes. And I met somebody in Alaska who ran a business using one of these too. He bought a really cheap one. The problem he has is that all the instructions were in Chinese. So you had to figure out how to use it without instructions. And the software was kind of not so good. But fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Again, for the person who has everything and you have no money is no object. There you go. And finally, a list of things under $100 that are all supposed to be available overnight or the next day. So let's zip through this. TP-Link AC750 Wi-Fi range extender, dual band cloud app control, dual band for $24.99. Good deal. All right, Wise Cam 1080p indoor wireless smartphone camera with night vision, two-way microphone. Now it shows two, but I think it's 43 for one.
Yeah.
I didn't drill down to find that. I found this nice list and I really didn't go carefully discriminate each ad. But so good deal. Bose SoundLink Micro Portable Outdoor Speaker. First of all, it's from Bose and it's less than $100. $69 for this Bluetooth connected outdoor speaker. I don't think you can put it in underwater, but I think it will work. It has reasonable water resistance if it got rained on slightly. It says outdoor, so why would they say outdoor unless it was water resistant? 69 bucks. Okay, you got your little home office, you got a little home network, you do a little plug and play in your office, or you have a bunch of devices you want to connect up at gigabit. D-Link 8-port gigabit unmanaged metal desktop switch, $34.25. That's a very good deal for gig switch. Leviton Decora Smart Wi-Fi mini plug plug-in outlet, no hub required, straight Wi-Fi control, $26.05 prime, very good deal.
They remind me to tell you about this. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you're looking to upgrade to a new home Wi-Fi router. You don't need to get necessarily AC 3200 for what you're trying to do at home. AC 1200 is more than enough. Gigabit smart Wi-Fi router, dual band, 5 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz. It's got the MIMO antennas, multiple inputs and outputs. Got all the features for $49. TP-Link AC 1200 Wi-Fi router. Okay, SanDisk 256 gig ultra fit USB 3.1 flash drive. This is the kind that you can plug in, for example, on a laptop and just leave it there because it's the form factor. It is so small sticking out of the USB slot that you don't have to worry about it. Just leave it there. $37.99, 256 gig USB 3.1. What you could build, like you have a laptop, you're worried about backing it up as you travel. Here you go. Set up a backup program to automatically save on a regular basis your documents, for example. That's a lot of documents to have 256 gig documents on your laptop. So you can do this and just, set it up to copy twice a day all your active files. All right, you need this, Amnon. I thought of you. This is not a high-tech thing. It's not controllable with your smartphone. But fog machine, smoke machine. When you do in the studio and you want to have, what you can do is, what this does is, it's TV shows when you go into a room and they shine a flashlight and you can see the beam, right? Well, they use these fog machines, these theatrical smoke machines to create an atmosphere, which is ridiculous because they have it they walk into a restaurant and the ambiance of the room is such that they use a little bit of smoke in there to make it look different, right? So now you can put this in the studio, have this going, and have some lasers and stuff going around and make it really look high tech. What do you think?
I don't think.
No? Oh. It doesn't set off your smoke alarm, so you'll be okay. Okay. We saw this over the last few weeks, the new Echo Flex plug-in mini smart speaker from Alexa for $19.99. It just has the prongs right on the back. You plug it into the wall, no USB transformer needed. Has a speaker built in, microphone built in. It is an Alexa. I don't know what the sound quality is like, but a lot of small speakers sound really good. I mean, your phone sounds really good. That's a small speaker.
I would guess that it's not for listening to music, but it's to be able to order anything you want from any room in the house.
The pictures I saw with people like in a workshop or in a kitchen or whatever, and they're not, it depends. It does have a speaker, so you can.
Yeah.
It's probably a pretty decent speaker considering technology today, right? Okay. A couple more things. One of these is not, this is the Celestron 70 millimeter travel scope. It's a small take with you telescope, portable, it's a refractor telescope. The difference, a refractor means you're looking straight through the lenses. The advantage of a refractor is it takes up less space, but it doesn't give you the same type of magnification that a reflector telescope would do. A reflector is where you have light coming in and it bounces back. It's a bigger tube, and the light comes in and it bounces off a mirror and gets captured at the head where the light first came in. That's where the viewport is, and it gives you more objective length for the lenses that this doesn't get. The longer the objective length, the better. The better the optics, the bigger optics you can put in it, and the more magnification you can get. But cool little telescope for a 70 millimeter for $59. And it probably comes, it looks like there's a disc on the bottom there. It has a spotter software to help you get started with it. I have an actual reflector telescope upstairs in the attic. I haven't used it in a while because the weather conditions here have been not real good for stargazing. I did use it several times to look at the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, look at Saturn and things like that. But if you're looking for a gift for a kid that's interested in science, an adult is interested in science and astronomy, I mean, this is a good price, $59. Okay, if you want to get into home automation on the cheap, Wise bulb 800 lumen A19, which is a standard, what they call a standard base bulb, smart home light bulb, adjustable white temperature. This is not a multicolor bulb. It is like it'll go from cool to warm white light, but still. But $37.98 for 4 bulbs, which is a good dude, and it's a good brand. So, and finally, I didn't realize that Amazon Basics is making UPSs now. And based on the look of it, I can't really tell who's making it for them because
they work great.
Huh?
They work great. I've got 3 of them.
Oh yeah, so good. Good recommendation for a 600 VA. Now this is not. You could probably get something a little cheaper for 600 on a special sale, but for an everyday price, $54 for a 600 VA 360 watt surge protector.
Looks like APC.
Pretty good. Looks like what?
APC.
Well, yeah, but it's different. Maybe APC makes the guts for it.
It's the chintziest plastic I've ever seen.
Oh, so
the plastic is like the worst EBC plastic in the world.
No, oh well. But it's not like the kind of thing where it's actively in motion all the time.
Right.
You plug stuff into it and it sits there and that's all it does. As long as the transformer doesn't melt the plastic. So I've seen that happen. I had an APC. No, it wasn't an APC. What's the other? Cyber power. I had that one and I actually sent it back and they replaced it for me because the transformer got so hot it melted the plastic. Yeah. But yeah, I'm running a couple of the 250, one really small one that's just meant for your cable modem and your phone TA. And I have another one that's a 400 watt one that I have on my DVR and some components down in the living room in the entertainment center. I don't have the TV hooked up to a battery backup. I just have everything else feeding it. My network all taken care of. All right. Well, that's it for last minute gifts for Christmas 2019 on December 22nd.
Thank you, Spence.
And again, if you call me to get my address so you can send me all these things so I can test them for you. And I will definitely get back to you on how good they are, especially the laser etching machine. I have room on my desk.
Yep.
You
Alright,
can
so-
custom, if you would like a custom-made butcher block that's got some names on it, or a cork trivet or something like that, I'll make it for you. Just have to buy me the machine, and I'll be happy to make it.
I ordered, Amnon knows this, I ordered an APC UPS on Black Friday. I still haven't gotten it. It's still
Oh.
back ordered at Office Depot.
Wow.
It was a good price. I got it for $30.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, 650 VA.
They're still building it.
I mean, the estimated delivery date was December 2nd. It hasn't even been, they haven't even processed the order yet.
Yeah, I was saying while you were on the specials that smart plug, Spence,
Yes.
$26. I said yes. Nick got on, I think it was Black Friday, right?
Yeah,
From
right.
Amazon?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah, from Amazon. It looks the same thing, and I'll bet in the rest of the text it says works with Alexa and stuff. Spence, the one for $26.
Yeah.
So Nick got it for $5.
Amazon makes it. It's an Amazon smart plug.
So Friday, there was what is it, Nick? Again,
Best Buy voice deal.
no, but what is the
Slick
service?
deals.
Yeah, and I went ahead, and you have to link your Best Buy to Amazon Alexa and stuff. I mean, I've never done it, but I did it, and you couldn't order more than one. There was no way to do it. I did it. It was $4.99. The same thing was $4.99, free shipping. So I went and I did, and they said you can go and change if you want on the website. I went to the website. Yeah, you can change if you don't want it, but there was nothing that you say I want 2 of them or 3 of them. So I went ahead and got it, and then I went in again and did it, and sure enough, it let me order another one. And right away, I went and ordered another one, and it let me go through. The 4th one, it says this item no longer available.
They got
Okay.
wise to you, Amnon.
Well,
I ordered 3 last night too.
yeah. So yesterday I tried it again, and it let me go through 3 of them, and the 4th one said this item no longer available.
So you ordered 6 of them?
Yeah, I have 6 of them coming.
Damn, they're a good price, man. They're
I know,
normally
it's
$25
unbelievable.
a piece.
So this is on Amazon?
This is and it's, I don't know if it's still available because they say it was for the 20 and 21st, but you can try. You have to you have to have an account on Best Buy. You have to have
Best Buy. Okay.
Yeah, Best Buy. And then you have to go into your Alexa app on the phone and link Best Buy to it. And once you do that, you go to the device and you say the A word. Ask Best Buy for voice-only deals. And it'll come and say, she'll come back and say, yeah, I have this one, regular $24.95, selling for $4.95. Do you want to buy it? And you say, yes. And and you have to have a credit card on the Best Buy side.
It's not available anymore, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, so it was for the 19th and 20th. I mean, 20th and 21st.
So what are you going to replace your current plugs with these?
No, I don't think I will because Kathy got used to. Kathy doesn't talk to her. Kathy uses the remote that came with that eTech City.
Gotcha.
Because that's what we're using. But
you can put the lights in the studio on this, though, Amnon. That would be
I can do all kind of things with that because doesn't need any hub, doesn't need anything.
Wi-Fi.
Right.
You should. You know what you could do? You should hook that up to the generator and have the generator feed into the smart plug. You could turn the generator.
Yeah,
on
right.
like hey, Amazon, turn on the generator. Get backfeed the generator into your house through the Amazon smart plug.
Right.
I'm starting my own personal assistant company.
Okay.
I'm going to call it Herman. So instead of Alexa, it's Herman.
You should call it Newman.
Newman. Oh, perfect.
Oh, Newman.
Yes, perfect. And you had to say it in the right voice too for it to respond. Hello, Newman.
Newman.
And that's the wake up word.
Otherwise,
Perfect.
it wouldn't answer.
Perfect.
Otherwise, it wouldn't answer.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want my royalty, my fee.
Okay. I'll share the 50 cents I make off this with you.
All right. So listen to this story now. Several fiber optic cables disrupted internet access in parts of Eastern Europe, Iran, and Turkey on Thursday.
The cables did it, or somebody did it to the cables?
The issue, which lasted for about 2 hours, was caused by multiple fiber cable being physically cut at the same time. A highly unusual thing to happen. Google says its services were among those unavailable in the region for about 30 minutes. The company told internet service providers to connect to its other servers to route around the problem. But just listen to this. If this happened here, and we don't need multiple cable cuts, all we need is one cable cut, unfortunately, and you're guaranteed that Spectrum is going to be down for 2 days. 2 hours.
Well, yeah, but hold on. But okay, but hold on. This was a main transit line.
Yeah.
They didn't repair the line in 2 hours. They were able to reroute the traffic in 2 hours.
It doesn't matter.
They couldn't repair this in 2 hours. No way.
No. The point is that they solved the problem in 2 hours.
You only have one feed coming to your house. So if that line gets cut, you don't have service. There's no round robin.
I'm not talking. No. Okay, I'm not talking about one house being cut because that's coax. I'm talking about if something in the Raleigh area
a major
is cut,
trunk got cut,
neighborhood, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is.
Well, it all depends on how much you want to invest in recovery.
Now, that's my whole point here.
For main pipes, there are this, but for neighborhoods and subdivisions, it doesn't exist.
Not. No, they're not going to have redundancy like this.
It is the same thing in a way, because fiber is always in rings. Somehow there's a ring. So if it cuts at 7 o'clock, you just go and connect it to where it goes the other way. I mean, we had that back in 95, 96.
That technology's been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
Not
some
even
reason,
with fiber, with dynamic rerouting, and then they came out with load sharing. So you can have multiple links of active going different paths, which is the best because there is no recovery time because you lose a little bandwidth, but you never lose your connection.
But I understood that with fiber, there are always rings. It's not like they're running it from one point to the next and it terminates there and ends there.
Oh, no, there's a lot of that out there, too. You have to pay extra to have the ring.
Okay.
In a metropolitan area, they have something called a metropolitan area network. And they were primarily built as loops. And they were automatic recovery. Think of this. This was built by telephone companies. So they had to have, by tariff, they had to have survivability in place. So they would use technologies like Sonnet, which was synchronous optical networks, and they would have fiber, and they would actually have traffic going in both directions on the fiber. And they would use, and after a while, they developed even new technology that let them have multiple instances of traffic going on the same fiber, meaning they use different wavelengths of light to send, well, here's signal number one, here's signal number two, up to, I'm not sure what the theoretical maximum was. Sometimes it was 8 or 16 different connections across one single fiber. So they had this. So you had traffic going in both directions. If there's something broke the fiber at some point, those devices would automatically wrap the fiber, and all of the places in that network, all of the hop-off points in that network continued to work, despite the fiber being broken. The only thing was the phone company got a message, oh, by the way, this fiber broke down and now you're rerouted, but the traffic still flows. You lose a little bandwidth. But I designed these networks for training purposes. I used to teach a class on this. I used to train the big systems integrator companies on how to design these networks. It was fascinating. It's still the same principles, but there's more point-to-point in place now because of the equipment has gotten so intelligent that you can run down multiple paths at the same time, and you don't necessarily have to deploy the loop anymore. It's built into the logic of the device.
Can you explain what you guys are saying? A ring? I don't know what does that mean.
It means like say you have 10 locations,
okay,
in a city, and through a right-of-way agreement with the city, you can bury fiber that goes in it could be a physical ring, it could be a logical ring, but the point is that you've got fiber coming into a building from two different ways, right? One comes from the north, one comes from the south, but just for the sake of argument. And it's a pair of fiber, and it talks to this intelligent device, and the device knows that I'm sending traffic in one direction on the ring clockwise, and I'm sending traffic in the other direction counterclockwise on that ring. And it continues to go around. It's like a train. It inserts packets.
Spence, I think you're getting into it too deep into
too
it.
Granular.
I think it's
a ring in that.
It's let me explain it to Nick a second. Nick, think about it this way. Take a rubber band, right? It's round.
It can be. It could also be
flat.
Now, if you take it and lay it on the table and you put something on at 9 o'clock, so 9 o'clock is connected to the ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you cut that rubber band at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so you have a split at 11.
You have split 11, but the ring is still going to be able to feed.
Gotcha.
From
so 9 o'clock
clockwise
would work clockwise.
So if you
counterclockwise,
right. So if you could have, and that doesn't work in electricity, unfortunately, if you could have electricity the same way that you take an extension cord and you loop it, and there's power on it all the time, and you cut it somewhere, the power is always going to get to everybody one way or another. That's the way that it works, and you don't even know it. So it's simple to think about the ring. I mean, what Spence is explaining is actually the way that it works. But to make it simple, that's the way that when he explained it to me years ago, that's the way that I always pictured it. It's a ring.
I'm going to put a graphic up.
Yeah, it's a ring, and it always gets there. This is what routing is all about. If your connectivity goes from New York to Raleigh to Atlanta, and the ring is cut between Raleigh and Atlanta, there is another way that you can get to Atlanta, which is probably New York to Chicago to Atlanta. So if it doesn't fit this way, it says, hey, I can't get there. So go the other way. GPS does the same thing. It says, hey, there's a problem on this. Take this route. And you go around it, so to speak, to get to your destination the same way. So yeah, it works. Spence, you said you.
I said I have a graphic up now. So here it shows a couple of different rings. One is what they call the primary ring, and one is called the subtending ring. Don't forget about that. That's got to do with tiers of availability and to making it so that you can have connectivity between multiple rings. This is a company, customer site. All these 5 sites are connected by the central office. This is a Sprint offering. So traffic is flowing in both directions on the rings. So if you were to cut the fiber between customer site 1 and customer site 2, the traffic would dynamically reroute itself. So the traffic from the customer perspective never stops flowing. The phone company becomes aware, or the provider becomes aware of the cut in the fiber, goes out to figure out what's going on. But all the customer has lost is bandwidth. So you can logically spread this out and make incredibly survivable connectivity. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
OC48 means that you've got, oh God, that's a tremendous amount of bandwidth. We used to have OC3 was considered to be a lot, but OC48 is a lot of capacity. Okay.
And she
I
works.
digress.
Yep. So it's apparently over there they have it like that.
Oh, I just thought of an even better description. You've got an airport that's got a tram that flows between all the terminals.
Right.
And it's just a continuous loop that the train takes.
Right.
If the tracks in one section were to go bad, you could still connect all those stations together. You just have the train come into one station that can't proceed and turns around and goes the other way.
Yep.
And
That's
it gets
true.
to the other
That's
station where it can't
perfect.
go any further, turns around and goes the other way.
Yep.
So it's just dynamically rerouting the traffic. You'd have to have somebody come in and do that, but I mean, that's a simple,
Yeah.
simple. It used to be when they first built these rings that it was a manual thing. The thing went down, a guy went into a room and basically flipped the switch that would dynamically reroute. It wasn't fiber, it was copper signals. It would go down an alternate path.
Yeah, now there's AI that will do it.
Yeah. The early days of networking, IBM had several different loop technologies. They called it store loop in one case. And you had a physical key, a little key, and the store systems were plugged into this connector box that had the wires going out from it. And if for some reason something broke, you go into the wiring, you go into there and you turn the key in one of the connections, and you go into the next one down the line on the other side of the break, and you turn the key there, and it dynamically rerouted. Well, not dynamically, it manually rerouted the traffic.
Yeah. All right. Earlier this week, the United States Navy banned the social media app TikTok from government-issued mobile devices, saying the popular short video app represented a cybersecurity threat.
Because it's owned by
China.
Yes.
A bulletin issued by the Navy on Tuesday showed up on a Facebook page serving military members, saying users of government-issue mobile devices who had TikTok and did not remove the app would be blocked from the Navy Marine Corps intranet. That's kind of good enough for me. Not to not to use it.
Oh yeah, you don't. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't get on TikTok. I would agree.
Did they block Tinder also on it?
What about Grindr?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's even worse. Yep.
Anna, you don't seem like the
person who would be.
Yeah, you don't seem like the TikTok type.
Yeah.
Do you even know what TikTok is?
It's like a social network, like Facebook or whatever. That's in China.
Yeah, for short videos.
For short videos.
It's like Vine. It's what Vine was, but
Okay.
since Instagram shut down Vine, it's called TikTok. Yeah, it's pretty much.
How long does the stuff stay around on TikTok?
I have no idea. I've never used it.
It expires. It's not
Yeah.
like it's up there forever.
It's like a mix of Snapchat and Vine.
Yeah.
Now we need to sing happy birthday because Atari 400 and 800 turned 40.
You know who else turned 40?
Can you imagine? What?
I said, you know who else turned 40?
Who else?
Our friend Brian Aldridge turned 40 yesterday.
Well, happy birthday, Brian. Is he in the chat?
I don't know. Old man Aldridge.
I don't see it. Old man Aldridge.
Old man Aldridge.
But Ataris, geez. I mean, this is like yesterday, and at the same time, it's like a lifetime ago. I mean, if you had an Atari computer, you had a bunch of games back then. That was the thing to look up to.
Oh, the best game ever, Amnon, was the ET game.
I never had an Atari, so I don't know.
It was horrible.
The one that was all the landfills that they just found like last year.
And they actually went out and found them, and they dug them up, and they're trying to use them again. It was just so bad. The game was horrible. I mean, it was just one of the worst created games ever built. Good documentary on it. Watch it.
Now, you guys are from up on the East Coast, or you were there. Did you ever hear about WAWA?
Yeah, of course.
The convenience store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So WAWA, a convenience store and gas station chain.
Best hoagies in the world, by the way, at WAWA.
We don't have them here, do we?
No.
Notified customers Thursday of a data breach that collected debit and credit card information at potentially all of its more than 850 locations along the East Coast. It is now offering free credit monitoring and identity theft protection to those affected.
Oh, thank God.
You know what you have to do is you have to manage yourself in such a way that you submit yourself to a potential breach every 2 years, so you have continuous credit monitoring. Right? Have somebody else pay for it. I'm still being covered for a breach.
In which system is every single credit card being stored? Doesn't that by itself sounds like a terrible idea? To be storing all the master
transaction information?
Yeah, like
or just credit card information in general.
Well, storing it in general in the form that it doesn't say that it was stored in clear text, right?
Well, are you talking about the breach?
Yeah.
No, the breach is not.
They're saying is that whose database was it? Was it a subcontractor that?
No, it was theirs.
So that's my question: is why the hell would you be storing every single credit card in one?
Oh, you don't? No. That's not the way it works, Nick. The way that it works is you get the information while people are doing the transactions. While you scan it, they capture it, and even if it goes, I don't think WAWA stores. I don't think
any have to be. How could all of the data be breached? You're telling me somebody was snaking their entire network? No, they had to be storing the information. And why are you storing all in one database? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but I don't know. That's right. They have to store it somewhere. Yeah.
But does it say, was it encrypted credit card information or was it clear text?
And that's the other thing, the other article that I was reading, and I did not save it, that there's a problem. Even if you are being careful and you look at the pump and you make sure that there's no skimmer there, you know how to tell you there's something on top of the thing. I mean, you have to know how they work. These guys figured out a way how to tap into the network of this company. And for some reason, most of these gas stations and other companies that do credit card transactions they take from customers, when they transmit the data to their headquarters in order to actually be processed, it's done unencrypted. So these guys,
are they relying on the old adage that it was a private network? And
I have no idea what they're relying on, but I think it's just lack of security thinking people in the company. Now, all you have to do is, if you have a way to get into the network, all you have to do is just be there a few seconds to a minute a day and capture, knowing when the data is sent, and you capture everything at once. And they were saying most of the newer companies, but you don't have a way to know. Most of the companies that do spend money or newer installations do encrypt it before they send it up. But a lot of the established ones that have been there for years and not the big companies don't, because apparently, I don't. What can it cost for a piece of software to be updated to just do encryption for that? I don't think it cost hundreds of thousands
I
of
don't
dollars.
think it's even a piece of software issue because most devices, why wouldn't a network support SSL native?
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's all something that cannot cost a fortune to do. It's an update to the software. Come on. But yeah,
There are knowing people that work in the industry still who do customer related installations. And there's a guy that I knew in my neighborhood that was a project manager for one of the locally based gas station convenience store chains that's based in North Carolina, said that you would not believe the old stuff that's out there running.
Yeah.
Because it was installed years ago and it just never got changed.
Right.
And it wasn't now that they've got more data requirements for other things besides transactions, they've been updating them. In fact, I was just the other day waiting for an appointment. I stopped in a McDonald's and it was a part of a convenience store and there was a satellite truck out there upgrading their satellite link to this particular gas station. I don't remember what the convenience store was, but they still do a lot of stuff over satellite. And the reason they do it over satellite is for security and because it covers any location. You don't have to worry about being out on the interstate somewhere where there's no data connection.
But it still needs to be encrypted. And I'm sure it is.
Oh, satellite stuff is by nature encrypted.
Yeah.
So unless you get into like you said, unless you have a way of getting into the network in the store or at their data center.
And by the way, Nick.
Yes, sir.
XP. Don't knock it down.
I'm not. I never.
You know who else has XP installed on their computer and their
Spence?
Putin.
Oh, then never mind. Since I'm a Russian bot. Windows XP is the greatest. I just installed XP on my laptop. Donald Trump runs XP too, I think, as well as Adolf Hitler. They all ran XP, from what I understand.
Oh boy.
Nancy Pelosi runs Windows 10 though, so she's good.
Yeah.
There was an article. Is there a thing about Russia running XP?
The what?
Is there a story about Russia running XP?
No. This was I didn't even save it. I just remember going through it, and it said that Putin still has XP on his machine, computer, and others around his office, and they are in the process of doing away with it to go with their Linux. Russia is going away from Windows.
Yeah, a lot of countries are.
Yeah, they need something that'll run good on their Pentium 4s.
Well, I mean, Linux will run fine. You don't need to update.
I think they hired Amnon as their subcontractor to install the Pentium 4s.
He's got all those old systems.
Collusion!
Yeah. Delta Force is the reason that Trump got elected in 2016.
Have you registered as a foreign agent yet? Come
on. Listen to this. Imagine we have to go through. A non-standard and somewhat weird password reset operation is currently underway at a German university where more than 38,000 students and staff were asked this week to stand in line with their ID card and a piece of paper to receive new password for their email accounts. The university suffered a malware infection last week. While the name of the nature of the malware strain was not disclosed, the university's IT staff considered the infection severe enough to take down its entire IT and server infrastructure. The university's network has been down since December 8th, and all computers have been isolated and disconnected from each other. For the past days, IT staff have used antivirus scanner loaded on more than 1,200 USB flash drives to scan each computer for malware. But you had to go and stand in line and get a password in person and write it down on a piece of paper. 38,000 people, students, faculty, whatever.
Why not Why not just use temporary passwords?
I don't ask me. You know
Like if they would have
that's
sent you an email, obviously, everybody should know this. You don't send passwords out via email,
right.
but you can send temporary passwords via email that require changes on first login,
Correct.
unless they were that worried about that.
Well, I don't know. They may have had a problem, and they just didn't know what to do. They may never had to go through that kind of problem, and they didn't know what to do. I don't know.
I think everybody should. Everybody needs to review the full list of worst passwords. Have you seen this? They come out every year.
Yeah, they doubled the size of the list too. It's
Yeah,
like
it's 50.
40.
It's 50 now.
Yeah.
But
Can you
one
read
of them that's
off?
on there, there's a new one that made the list this year for the first time. Donald
Oh
is now
boy.
a password. And was there another one on here that was significant?
Can you go through like the top 10 or 15?
I can go for the first top 10.
Yeah, let's see.
The number one password, bad
Still.
password, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the next one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that went up one from being number 3 last year. The third one is QWERTY, QWERTY. Number 4 is password. Number 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is ridiculous. And then people try to get clever. I love you is number 8, and number 9 is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And 10 is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But some of them, people try to get clever. And they try to go like 1Q, 2W, 3E, 4R, 5T.
It's a hard password to remember.
No, it's you can just do it and right along the
It's
top
1,
of the
2, 3,
keyboard.
4,
It's really
5,
easy.
yeah.
1Q, da, da, da. It's like what was the one that we used to use in labs all the time because we really didn't care. It was like QWEASDZXC.
So I've got a question though. I wonder what these are the worst passwords for what?
For people just for brute force attacks.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong on this, but doesn't every website like you sign up for require you to use at least a letter and a
No.
number?
No,
Not. It all depends.
not
Most of them
every.
do.
A lot of them do. You're right, Nick, but not
That's what I'm
every.
wondering. Where could you use the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
On your personal computer,
Okay, there you go. Personal computer.
on your smartphone.
True.
Right.
In
I
an
just don't
in an
Gmail
office
password can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't. They will not let you set that as a password.
in an office where there's no IT department.
Yeah. True. True. My favorite is the computer name is the password. That's very common too.
Sunshine, freedom, football, Charlie, let me in. That's password.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's actually a default password on a lot of like web apps and stuff that you install. For the first time, let me in is this. You know what's interesting though? I was reading an article last week about passwords. It is better, and I think Amnon does this. I don't know. It's better to use phrases for passwords
Mhm.
than like try to come up with something. So like if you get a new router, it'll have like unicorn candy 8 will be the password that's like printed on the label or something like that. Those are way more secure than, last name, date of birth, city, or whatever string you would come up with.
I use song lyrics. I create an anagram with song lyrics. There's something I can remember.
I switched to using BitLocker. Bitwarden, not BitLocker. I switched to using Bitwarden a couple months ago, which is an open source password manager. I'm actually using Gal's server as my host. And I'll tell you what, man, there's nothing better than not having to remember passwords anymore.
Yeah, I've been creating some pretty wacky passwords.
Yeah. Bitwarden's fantastic. Big fan.
Yeah, and you should use Wacky. Absolutely. Use Wacky password.
Yeah, I think Amnon's password for the live stream is I love Windows XP.
Yeah, right.
No,
I mean,
you change it to Windows XP forever.
I mean, we have one service that I know of that we use on Delta Force that's let me in. It's been like this for years, but the point of it is that it only allows access from a certain IP address. So my IP address is there, Jason's IP address is there, and Ron's IP address is there. And if it changes, you can't even get the prompt to enter a password. I mean, you have to be in that file to be permitted to even get to that point. So at that point, the password is meaningless.
Says press 1 for Delta Force.
Delta Force.
Yeah, right. All right.
You had some phone issues this week.
Some what?
You had some phone issues this week with Anveo.
Yeah, Anveo. It was weird. The service. I used to be with VoIPO for years, but then they went down and they wouldn't come back in a few days. That turns into a week. But I switched to Anveo, Anveo, Anveo.com. Turned out it's cheaper, and we talked about it. Turns out they have better protection from crank calls, and it's a call flow. I mean, there's a lot of things you can just go and look if you have voice over IP. So everything was working great, and then I switched our home number to it too, and I realized in setting it up, I was trying to call it, so I would call from my number, from office number, to the home number, and I would hear in my phone 2 rings and then busy. 2 rings and then busy. I tried from the cell phone, worked fine. I tried from another line, from the UMA line, worked fine. So I called them and I figured, okay, so it must be blacklisted. They don't have a blacklist. They do, but I didn't have anything in it. So when I opened the ticket, they were saying, you need to look into your OB High device. That's the ATA box that actually connects the line, the internet, and turns it into an actual phone line. I went and looked, spent a couple hours, 3 hours, couldn't find anything, then did some reading, and no, there is no such thing as a blacklist on it. So I went back and I said, after hours of looking, there is no blacklist. 10 minutes later, the guy sent a message back. He said, I changed something in the call flow. So test it now. I tested, everything works. I said, okay, it works. Now you need to tell me what it was so we'll know. He said the way that the call flow goes is you set it up. It's just like a chart flow that you're making in those programs on Office. So the first thing is, here's a call. What do I do with it? And you tell it that to go to the next step, which then it says, what do you want me to do with that step? I said, I want, if there's no press 1 to continue, then you hang up. Otherwise, you go here. On the first step, he said he changed it. He unchecked the box that says, do not answer this line. So I write back and I said, what? Are you saying that by default, it's do not answer this line? And he said, yeah, we need to look into it. So here I spent, I don't know how many hours, because something was just didn't make sense. Does it make sense? I mean, I'm getting a phone line. Why would I, and Nick was saying something that a lot of people are using it for other things, but in reality, most people that get a phone line want to be able to use it as a phone line. So why would the default be don't answer that line? I would think the default should be unchecked, and then, okay, you know what? I don't want this line. I don't want to even, I never going to answer it. I'm just going to use it for outgoing. So check it.
Yeah, as I was telling Amnon and Anveo, is it Anveo or
Yeah,
Anveo?
Anveo, Anveo.
Anveo. That and a lot of these other services, they have a full-featured API. So a lot of people use these for I'm not going to say robocalls because that's not what I'm looking for, but you get the call from the local fire municipality, raising money for this, political things. It's very common to use that because they have an API that allows you to make up a whole bunch of calls.
Right.
So that would make sense why they don't have that. But to have that on by default, I agree, is pretty stupid.
And
the fact that they didn't check that originally is also stupid.
Well, that's how it was, and I realized why the office number did work. I never had a problem with the office number because there is a default script in there that says check for spam. I mean, check for fax and do this and do that. And I said, I don't know. So I just did away with all those other steps and added my own to the first step, which was already to answer. This one, I already knew what I'm doing. So I did away with that script altogether and started from scratch. And that was the reason why it was checked, because I used a brand new script. But it's nice. I mean, if you are on any kind of a service that is costing you $20 a month, $10 a month, if you don't use the phone a lot, I mean, first of all, you're going to have to buy a box that cost about $40-some, an OB High 100 or 101. I got the 102 with 2 lines.
I just posted a link, the Slick Deals. Polycom OB High 200 is on sale for $40.
Yeah, that's the one. I got the 202. This is a 200?
Yes.
Oh, it's a 1-port. Okay.
Yeah. It's for one line.
I got the 202. And so the 202 was something like 60 or something like that. But the thing is, you can set up an account through OB Talk that Anveo works with that is free. No, I'm sorry. On Anveo, you can use it that it's free, and then you pay a cent a minute. But you can also set up an account through OB Talk that's costing $3.33 a month. And you get unlimited incoming, but only 333 minutes outgoing. And it has all the options. And if you go to Anveo.com and look under the plans and prices, something like that, you'll see at the very top, OB Talk. Click on that and you'll see what I'm talking about. The one for the office is costing me $84 a year. And it's 1,000 minutes outgoing and unlimited incoming. What'd you ask me?
What were you paying before?
For on what? On VoIPO?
Yeah, for that
VoIPO
line.
was $185 for a year, and you had 2 lines. Big deal. I mean, I never used the second line.
Gotcha.
Because it's the same number. I mean, when you have the point is, I was reading in Anveo, I cannot find any instances when they were down in all these years. They do state that they have servers, redundant servers in Germany and somewhere else, in a few places around the world. So that's a good thing to be secured. So like, hey, great. With VoIPO went down every now and then for a few hours, but still, when you're in business, it's something that you don't want to happen. The only problem that I have now with Anveo and with the setup that I set up with that requires you to press 1 in order to continue, I don't get any more crank calls. No more robocalls. But the problem is I have TTT. When I have reminders and things like that where they call you, I cannot find a way how to put a pause of like 1 or 2 seconds and then press another 1. There was one article that says just put commas. I tried it, it didn't work. So I just made it go to the cell phone, which is fine. I mean, it's no big deal. But it's a great service for a great price. And that's it.
Great
Just-
service, great price. Act today.
Yeah, it just, I mean, really, the bottom line is I did not look at that first. I assumed that, why would it not answer? You know, I mean, you don't think about it. But everything else that I had problems setting up the business turned out to be something that I overlooked. So, yep, Anveo.com, Anveo.com. All right. Anything else? It's past that time.
Is it?
Anything?
It is. I'm hungry. I got to go eat something.
All right. Well,
Happy Hanukkah starting tonight.
yep. And Christmas
Merry
starting
Christmas.
Tuesday night.
Yes.
Joy to the world, all over. Everybody. When is Kwanzaa? Oh no.
Oh, no.
I was reading another article in short that said something about economists had the decade figured out wrong. They didn't figure it out right, and now they trying to figure out why our economy is so good.
It can't be the policies that were put in
No.
place. No. It's something else.
I mean, not a
Aliens-
word.
Aliens came and took over.
Not
Amazing.
one word about our great president. Not one word that, hey, you know, look what he did.
TDS.
Yep. All
Level
right.
3 TDS.
So thanks, Spence.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Nick.
Merry Christmas.
You all have Merry Christmas. Don't drink and drive, no matter what you do, and don't drive around in a car with a menorah lit.
No? Oh.
Wow, what's the problem with that?
No problem with that.
You have to keep it inside so it doesn't get blown out by the wind.
And a happy Hanukkah to you, Amnon.
Thank you very much. And
Amnon, I sent you a picture of the thing you should ask for Hanukkah. in your
yeah,
email.
that's not going to happen.
What?
No, never mind. We'll talk about it.
Toodaloo.
So good morning. And again, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Dina. Thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. See you next Sunday.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.